I feel at home in being with you folks. And speaking of relationships built over time, you know, we've done a lot together in the last few months, and so I do feel at home, and I do feel like we have a good business relationship. I like to think of it as a partnership, that it's not just a one-sided relationship, that it really is one that's mutually beneficial, you know, to all parties. You guys know a little bit about my background. I've been in new home sales for a long time. Back in the day, you know, I discovered early that realtors were the key to my success as a new home salesperson. And can I write on the board?
Sure.
Can I erase this and
Sure.
write something down? I just want to share a couple of thoughts. I just thought, as Shawn, you know, told me what your topic was going to be, and I thought,
Here you go.
okay, that I would try to give you a little bit of a perspective from our side of the equation. And the first thing that I'd like you to think about is the fact that we rank our buyers when they walk in the door into 4 different categories. The first category is what we call an A buyer, and they're ready, willing, and able, and they for sure want a new home. And we love these people. You know, new home salespeople thrive on A buyers. These are the perfect lead that walks in the door. The bad news is we don't see very many of them. There aren't very many A buyers out there walking around. So then we get to a B buyer, and this is a buyer that generally is trying to decide between new versus existing. They have this question mark in their mind. Do I want to buy a new home? Do I want to buy an existing home? Oftentimes it boils down to they may want a new home, but they don't have time to wait, or they're afraid they'll get in a fight or divorced or something, or there's always well, you know, we got to buy new furniture if we buy a new home or whatever. And sometimes it's because they want to live by a certain school or closer to work or whatever, and there may not be lots available to build a new home there, so they kind of are forced to buy in the existing market. A C buyer has some sort of a problem, and the one that is the most relevant to you folks is oftentimes they have a home to sell. I want to talk about that more in just a minute. An AC buyer is an A plus a C. So it's somebody that is absolutely, we're building a new home, we just got to sell our house first. And I want to give you a statistic that I know you guys know about here in San Antonio. Right now, 75% of all transactions buy used or buy existing. That means that 3 out of every 4 will buy an existing home. This is a staggering statistic. This depresses new home salespeople. But if you ran a report today through the MLS and looked at all the transactions that closed in the month of October, it would be roughly 75% would have bought an existing home, and only 25% would have bought a new home. And the part that's interesting about that is that as a new home salesperson, if you think about who your competitor is, most of us think about David Weekley or Pulte or Syntex or D.R. Horton or some other home builder. But the truth of the matter is, our #1 competitor is the existing real estate market, because you're going to take 3 out of every 4 buyers off the street and sell them an existing house. So as a new home salesperson, where am I going with this? Well, I discovered early that understanding the existing side of the business was a key to my success. See, if I'm going to go head-to-head with D.R. Horton, I know that I need to go learn their product, I need to go study their floor plans, I need to decide, you know, what amenities they're including, what their prices are, what their incentives are. That's the only way I can be competitive against D.R. Horton. Well, if my real competitor is the existing market, then wouldn't it make sense to learn all I could about the existing market? Well, here in Texas, most new home salespeople don't have a real estate license. We're not required to have one here, unlike other states, Peter, right? Like Arizona and California, Nevada, and the places where I've worked, we always had to have a real estate license. So I came from your side. I still am one of you. I've had my broker's license for a long time, not here in Texas, but in Utah. So I grew up on with an awareness of your side of the business. We always had access to the MLS, so I could run my own reports and stats and see what was going on. But here in Texas, most new home salespeople are completely clueless about the existing market. And we don't have access to the MLS, so we can't run reports. I can't do a CMA. I have no idea what's going on with values. I don't know what the days on market is. I don't know what the appreciation rates are. And so I'm completely out of touch with my #1 competitor. Now, I may be sounding like we're on opposite sides here, like it's me versus you as a realtor. But I want you to understand that if you're wanting to grow your business, and you want to grow it through selling more new homes, I'm giving you a secret here. I'm telling you a little golden nugget. That if you will partner with an on-site sales counselor with the idea of helping them to understand more about their #1 competitor, which is the existing market, you will build a relationship that will cause them to want to refer business to you. And let me be more specific of what I'm talking about. In other markets where new home salespeople are realtors, there's an opportunity to share in commission referrals. Here in Texas, that doesn't happen. So that's not an option, so I won't even go down that path. But even though that's the case, most new home salespeople are very short-sighted. They see the realtors as only a lead source. Gimme, gimme, gimme. It's all about, what have you done for me lately? Give me a lead. And so they make phone calls or they bring donuts by your office, and their whole goal is to get you to give them a referral of a buyer. My perspective, Shawn's approach to this is completely opposite. If you bring me a buyer, that's awesome. That is wonderful, and I would love that. But as Sue Gentry can attest, because she's the one I've done it the most with in this office, I have much more success in using these relationships to help people to sell their home. Because here's the way this math breaks down. In a typical month, if I see 20 people, I may have 2 of them that are an A buyer. I'll probably have 6 or so that are B buyers. I'll probably have, I'm being specific to Alamo Ranch, I'll probably have 8 C buyers, and a lot of their problems are credit or other things. And I'll probably have 4 A C buyers. That's someone who wants a new home but has a home to sell. My fellow new home sales counselors will ignore these 18 people, usually. If someone walks into a model home and says they have a home to sell, most new home salespeople don't even get a reg card on them. Because in their mind's eye, I can't help you. When you sell your home, come back and see me. But until you sell your home, and I'm not a realtor, so I can't advise you, I don't know that whole world, I know nothing about it. So the minute they say I have a home to sell, there's something in the new home sales counselor's brain that just kind of shuts off. My personal approach is, this is what I call the battlefield of new home sales. These 2 people are going to hit 6 models on average. They're going to be all about price. They're going to be all about incentives. It's going to be ugly. I'm going to have to know my competition's weaknesses, and we're going to have to go head-to-head over price, and it's a mess. These people, on the other hand, my other fellow new home salespeople ignore. And I've discovered that if I can expose them to the existing market, I already know I'm only going to get 1 out of 4. And I'm okay with that. Because I know that if I refer these folks to you, and you go out and show them existing homes, 3 out of 4 are going to buy an existing home. But there's a 1 in 4 chance that you're going to show them however many homes, and they're going to say, we can't find what we're looking for, so we want to come back to you and build. And I know that if I've referred that buyer out to you, you're going to say, I got that lead from Shawn, they didn't buy an existing home, so I'm going to bring you back and we're going to build a home with this builder. So If somebody's looking new or used, in other words, a B buyer, I need your help. But this is the one that for most new home salespeople is a huge opportunity that they have never even attempted to get a hold of, and that's people that have a home to sell. Somebody comes into my model and they say, I have a home to sell, I light up. Because I know I'm going to separate myself from everybody else, because I'm going to talk about their existing home. I'm going to interview them about, have they already had a market analysis done? If not, would you like to get one? And talk to them about, you know, what I've heard about the market and how things are going and the likelihood of them selling it and how long and all that kind of stuff. And so for me to be able to have a partner out in the existing real estate world that I can refer people to that have a home to sell is worth more than even if I ever get a referral brought back to me. And I'll bet you didn't expect me to say this to you today, did you? But that for me is the gold mine of our relationship. Because if we can get their home sold, I have a captive audience. People don't shop my competition as far as David Weekley or D.R. Horton or whatever, usually, once we've worked with them to get their home sold and there's this relationship built with the realtor. You see, I've plucked them out of the stream before they even got that far down the road. And so I'm not saying it's easier. It's still a difficult thing to put a deal together, but it's easier than the battlefield up here where it's all about pricing, incentives, and all that kind of stuff. So, so what do I look for in a realtor partner? My spiel, pitch, story to a person that has a home to sell. This is how I would sell you. I would say there's 7,700 realtors in the San Antonio board, and many of them are awesome. And there's some very good ones all over all parts of town. But folks, realtors specialize in certain neighborhoods. They specialize in certain price ranges. Now, they're able to help you across the whole city, but they have their own little areas of expertise. So it's really important that when you talk to a realtor to get a market analysis on your home, that you choose one that knows your neighborhood like the back of their hand, and they know values, and they know the inventory, and they know what you're going to need to do to that home to get it to sell, because they know what your neighbor had to do to get their home to sell. And maybe they've even listed and sold homes in your neighborhood, and so they have their thumb right on the pulse of the market of your neighborhood. And I always tell people it's a good idea to get a second opinion, but I always say I have a partner, I have a relationship with a realtor that specializes in your neighborhood. Would you like them to come out and do a free market analysis on your home and tell you what your home is worth, how much equity you have in it, how long it'll take to sell it, and what you need to do to get it in sellable condition? 9 times out of 10 they say yes. And the most common objection I hear is, well, I've got a friend. You know, my so-and-so's a realtor, I work with a guy that does it part-time or whatever. And I always say, great, that's why I suggest you get a second opinion. But let me explain, folks. Oftentimes, people make bad decisions by going with their family member or friend because they don't talk about the hard questions. They don't talk about their finances, or they don't disclose everything because they don't want their friend knowing all their business. So, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I say to them, even if you're going to go with your friend, it's smart business for you to get a second opinion from another qualified realtor. And most of the time, I'm able to get them to accept the invitation to have a realtor come out and do a market analysis. I explain that it's free, that it's no cost or obligation. I explain that they're going to get out of that some data that they can use. So I try to play it that even if you're going to go with somebody else, you'll be a smarter seller by having a second opinion. And I can see people light up, and they kind of get excited that, you know, that I'm able to have this conversation with them and really get into the meat of their existing home. And then I layer other things that are important, such as the move-up program. Because if I can explain to them that in addition to this person being an expert, they're also going to save you money because we've partnered with them as a builder, and they're going to be able to list your home at a discount because we're going to include them in the new home transaction. Now they're all over it. Now they're like, when can I meet with them? Let's get them out here right away. So what I'm looking for are